All right, so I was pretty much done for the day. I wasn't going to make any more videos, but then all of a sudden I started watching what was going on in Utah, and the Democrats have picked up a seat. So we're going to talk about that really quick because the Republicans in Utah tried to do a partisan map. A judge rejected it, and now the state legislature in Utah is trying to impeach the judge for not going along with their map. So we have a lot of drama going on in Utah, and I want to talk about that. Me personally, I went to the University of Utah. I lived in Utah in Salt Lake City and Salt Lake County for years. I worked on US Senate and congressional campaigns in Utah. It's a state that I know really well. So I wanted to go over what's happening in Utah, give you an idea because again, this is another pickup for the Democrats, and I don't think that the Republicans can do anything. So this came out earlier today. And I was going to talk about it tomorrow, but with the whole impeachment idea going on, I wanted to talk about it today. So a judge picked Utah's new congressional map for 2026 midterms, see which district you'll be in. And this is the map right here. Now, we're going to mostly focus on what will eventually be the first congressional district here. Because this is the one that's going to be Democratic. It's going to be pretty strongly Democratic. And they're talking about Ben McAdams, who used to be the congressman from the only Democratic congressman from Utah who beat Mia Love to possibly run for that seat. So as you can see, this is the article in the Salt Lake Tribune. And in this article, we see that Judge Gibson said that it was an extremely partisan gerrymandered map that the Republicans wanted to do. Now, for years, what the Republicans have mostly done is they've been able to have either 3 or 4 Republican districts because what they do is they just essentially break up Salt Lake City and Salt Lake County. Now, Salt Lake County is becoming more and more Democratic. Back in the day, and we'll talk about it, the southern part of Salt Lake County used to be way more Republican. And now on the southeast side, when we get into Sandy and even now into Draper, we're starting to see it more Democratic. So we'll get into that. So anyway, the judge says here, sorry, this is a partisan map you Republicans are doing. I'm going with this map that actually gives the Democrats a seat. And as I mentioned today, the Republicans, here's KUTV, the Republicans are trying to impeach the judge. Utah lawmaker begins process to impeach judge after congressional map ruling. So this is the article here. They're going to try to go ahead and try to remove her as a judge. Now, if you're the Republicans, I think the damage is already done. So once you removed her, if you do remove her, if you're successful in impeaching her, and even impeachment doesn't necessarily mean removal, as we all know, right? If you're able to actually remove her, I still think that the ruling stands. So this is it, unless they go ahead and do some sort of another appeal and try to get the map. This is the map. So let's go ahead and look at what this map is for the what will be the first congressional district, which is weird for me, being involved with Utah politics, because it's usually the first congressional district is usually in the northern part of the state. The second congressional district usually was the one that encompassed most of Salt Lake City. So it is kind of weird to have this be now the first. But this, if you're a Democrat, this isn't the most Democratic you can make it, but it's pretty darn close. Let's just go ahead, and we're on Dave's redistricting right here. Now, I made this map before I started doing the video, so let's go ahead and look at how Democratic it is. So of all the precincts that we have here in the partisan leaning, we have it a 52.93% Democrats, a 42.92% Republicans. So exactly 10% difference. This is a strong Democratic district, especially in Utah. So let's go back to the map and let's go ahead and look at the partisan leading of the precincts to just give you an idea. So our main areas that we have is we have Salt Lake City, South Salt Lake, we have West Valley City, which has a lot more Hispanic voters, Kearns, West Jordan. West Jordan's going to be your more conservative area. Then you got Mill Creek, and I think it goes into Cottonwood. It goes into Cottonwood Heights. You have Murray, you have Holiday as well. These are all places that have been shifting Democrat for quite a while now. So let's go ahead, and you'll see here we are in the middle of the map. As soon as I take off the map colors, look how blue this gets. Boom. This is what the Democrats have been handed. So let's just go ahead. Downtown Salt Lake here. You got the avenues up here. You have downtown Salt Lake here, Capitol Hill. This is where the Capitol is. All of this area, very, very highly populated, very dense, and very, very Democratic, very progressive and liberal. And to be honest with you, people are talking about Ben McAdams running in this district. He might actually be too conservative, like Jim Matheson. He might actually be too conservative for this district. This might be interesting for a true progressive in Utah to actually run. Now, as you get more out here, this is where the University of Utah is. Interesting that this part of the University of Utah campus is actually more Republican, but this is where the student housing is, right here by the hospital. So this will be more Democratic. You know, there's a precinct here, but what is there? Maybe one or two registered voters there, because that's the University of Utah actual campus, not where the students are. Now, as you get further on south, you get into South Salt Lake here, you get into Sugar House right here, extremely liberal place. I mean, extremely liberal. Where this is where your progressive, true progressive heart that they don't even have room for moderates comes in. And this is why I'm looking at this saying, this is pretty darn progressive. As you get further south into Mill Creek, Murray, and into Holiday, these are Republican, but they're very much precincts, these ones in Holiday. I used to work in Holiday. The last congressional campaign I worked at, in Kathy Allen's 2017 special election to replace Jason Chaffetz, I was in charge of the whole field operation of that thing. These are precincts that can go back and forth. Okay, so you see red, but they can go blue, but you can see Murray has become more blue. And what you're seeing is a lot of the people, the liberals and Democrats who were in Salt Lake City, that maybe the avenues are a little bit too high for them to live in because, you know, affordability, they've moved into South Salt Lake. And now that that's getting built up, they're moving into Murray, and they're just moving further and further down. Now, let me go ahead and get the map colors on here. Again, as you can see, it ends right here in Cottonwood Heights. So Cottonwood Heights, let me take that off, is a little bit more Democratic as well. This is where you have kind of like rich Democrats living, like people who are, you know, extremely wealthy. They live in this area, and they're usually Democratic. Your rich Republicans usually live in Draper, or they're across the mountain living in Utah County. All right, so let's get back to the map colors. Okay, so as you can see, it says West Valley City and West Jordan. So as you can see, West Valley City here, you do have a lot of faded Republican and Democratic precincts. Now, one thing I'd like to see is, can we get Hispanic voting age population and see if that can apply here. You can see the numbers are smaller here, 17, 17, 32, 55. But as you get into West Valley City, 726, 700 or 812, 676, 719, 1090. So you see way more Hispanics here who over the last few elections have gone more toward the Democrats. So we might be seeing a little bit of difference here, and we might see West Valley City. If you're the Democrats, West Valley City is the area where you just want it to shift one way. Taylorsville, kind of a mixed area. The only strong Republican area that we have in this district is West Jordan. And we got Midvale right here. And this is where I-15 comes. So essentially you can think of the stuff usually east of I-15 is going to be more Democratic. The stuff west of I-15 and south of Taylorsville is usually going to be strongly Republican. So we do have this part of South Jordan here. It doesn't go all the way into Harriman or Draper. Doesn't even go into Sandy from what I see. Yeah, it kind of cuts out Sandy, and Sandy has become more and more Democratic. It's usually a 50-50 place. So what we're seeing here, we're seeing about the most Democratic district you can get. The only way that it could maybe be a little bit more Democratic is if you cut out West Jordan and you brought it out here to Park City. and hide out and all this and in Deer Park and all that. So this would have been maybe the only way you could have made it more democratic. But otherwise, this is a huge, huge democratic advantage. Now, I haven't talked about the congressional maps yet, and I will be talking about because this is my current predictions right now. But we got to put that as a pretty strong Democratic seat. Okay, as a matter of fact, I would even say it is a strong one. Now, of course, this is the old map. Once they get the new map in here, I'll go ahead and replace it. We've had a lot of redistricting going on. We've had it in obviously Texas, and we got it here in California. We have it in Ohio. We have it in North Carolina. Now we got it in Utah. There's a lot of midterm redistricting going on. So we need to keep our eyes on that. So, okay, I wanted to talk about that in this video because I didn't plan on talking about it today. I was going to talk about it tomorrow because I wanted to get in depth. But this whole thing about the Republicans now wanting to impeach the judge because they could not get their way, that's just beyond the pale. That's unbelievable. All right, well, thank you all very much. Remember to like, subscribe, and if you want to give a super thanks or become a member or join my Patreon, please do so. Have a wonderful day wherever it is you are. I cannot speak because this news just kind of hit me all at once. I wanted to get a video out there. Okay, I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.